With one less game preseason-wise, has it been any different for you as a player? Has it affected the way you prepare in any way?
No, I don't think so. I think, training camp's a funny time because you kind of just go as the coaching staff puts the schedule together and all of those things. So, like the preseason games, we don't know how much we're playing, if we're playing until, the day before the game. So I think this preseason, this training camp, we kind of just dug in, started with the practices, did that, then went down to Philly, obviously played Washington first, but I think we've just kind of gone step by step, and whatever Bills has had planned for us, we try to execute and go about it that way.
Speaking of Bill, having played for him for quite some time, do you feel like he's different at all last season, so far this season? Is he a different Bill Belichick?
Not really. I mean, I think that's the genius about him, is his ability to not really alter or change depending on the circumstances or anything like that. He's pretty much been the same my whole career, and I think that's why, the team has prepared the way it's prepared and done the things that it's done throughout the seasons, very similar each year. Obviously, last year wasn't, what we wanted from a win-loss standpoint. But I think overall, when you look at the team and how players act, it's very similar because how he is. He's so consistent year in and year out, day in and day out.
Devin, speaking of Bill, he gave an update on Stephon Gilmore saying that he's been working out really hard during the offseason. Obviously, we haven't seen him at practice, but that he's been there working out as a teammate. What have you seen out of him during this offseason since the media hasn't seen anything?
He's been the same guy. I think Gilly has now obviously been here in our system for some time. He's been great, I think, for the guys in the meeting room to talk to him, to understand how he sees things. Obviously, he's one of the best corners in the NFL over the last couple of years. And I think guys, they want to dig into that. All of the new guys, the young rookies out of here, they want to ask him questions about, how do you see this coverage? How do you do this? So I think that's been a big part of us as a unit right now, is just having him, even though he's not on the field, just being a kind of coach in the meeting room, and that's been awesome, I think, for me and the rest of the young guys.
Do you hope to see him on the field with you this season?
No doubt about it. Like I say, he's one of the best players in the NFL, so having him out there makes us better as a team and as a defense. So I think me, like a lot of the guys, can't wait to have him back on the field.
Devin, can you explain to us, let us know how things are going to change? Now we're last week of training camp, after cut day, getting prepared for week one. How do things change? How does the energy change in the room?
For one, I think, it doesn't change for anybody as far as, as we started to build this thing up back in April of getting to know guys. I think first you kind of get through that period of, a lot of guys have been, going hard, training, studying to try to be on this team, and the reality is everybody doesn't make the team. I think that's a tough time for anybody. I know, especially young guys when you first get in NFL, it's going to happen, but I think seeing the roster cut down, the reality of that, it takes some time to get used to, and it kind of makes you take a step back and realize, I think we'll get through that. And then it all kind of turns into locking on Miami. Right now we've been really trying to improve as a football team. A lot of general situations that we'll see, maybe week one, maybe week three. We've been working on those, but I think after that, that roster cut down, it'll be zero in on Miami. What do they do well? What's happening? So, I think that's how first games are. You're reviewing a lot of different things, and you're trying to really be good fundamentally because there's a lot of unknown in week one.
Devin, when you look at the way the NFL has created kind of the vaccination situation with regard to it potentially being a competitive disadvantage, as a captain, are you somebody who encourages guys to go out and get vaccinated? How do you deal with that when you're looking at some who, may be making their own personal health decision? How does that work for you in the locker room and for the guys in the locker room?
I think for a lot of us in the locker room, we're not thinking about that. It is what it is. I'm not going to harp on, something that's a guy's personal decision to put something in his body. I think that's for a person to decide. And I don't think, trying to guilt somebody into doing something, just because we see it as a competitive advantage. Obviously, the new rules, it does make things a lot tougher for the unvaccinated players. But, I think for us as a team, it is what it is. We know, whoever's not vaccinated, whatever that situation is, we're aware of it, and we got to go win games no matter what happens. So my focus is staying locked in on how we win games, whatever that is, however that is, week 1 all the way throughout, I guess it's week 17 or week 18 now. And I think that's what we have to do as players and as leaders on the team is focus on what we control and try to win each week.
Obviously, when it comes to the vaccine, a lot of headlines with Cam Newton missing this past week. He was back yesterday, looked good. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you saw out of him yesterday? He seemed to be in good spirits after dealing with whatever he had to deal with earlier in the week.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of our leaders. He's a veteran player. I'm sure it's not the first time he's had to deal with something that he'd rather, not have to deal with, rather be on the football field with his teammates. So, but to me, he came out like a professional, like a leader that you would expect on this team, dating back from last year and how he's been since he's got here, came in locked in, ready to go, leading the offense and bringing the Cam juice and energy that he brings every day. And I think that's great for our football team. And, I think at this point of training camp, there's starting to be a standard for obviously the team and for players that you expect things from. And Cam certainly fits that as a leader, as a quarterback, that, there's a standard and expectations that guys expect from him and that guys in our team need. So it's great to have him back. And I think he checks all those boxes for us when he's here.
Devin McCourty is our guest on a Patriots Friday. Does Mac Jones look like a guy who's ready to play this season, Devin?
He's been great so far, man. He rarely comes in, he studies. I've had conversations with him just about, different things I see from the safety position and reading quarterbacks and things like that. And he's been awesome of just his work ethic and wanting to get better day in and day out. So whether he's ready and all of that, I'll leave that to Bill. But it's been great having him in the locker room. He's a super competitive guy. He wants to be better each day. And you see it on him. You see sometimes when he gets angry of how hard he wants to work and wants to get better. So I'm excited for him and obviously our team. I think he's going to be a really good fit here in New England.
Devin, when you break up a Tom Brady pass in Week 4, do you want the crowd at Gillette to cheer, or do you want them to be upset that Tom didn't complete the pass?
I mean, he's a Patriot legend, man, greatest of all time. So whatever they decide to do, that's on them, man.
But does it surprise you when you hear fans or Matt Damon say that if they have a choice between watching the Patriots or watching Tom Brady, they're going to watch Tom Brady? Does that surprise you?
No, I mean, the guy spent 20 years in one place and won 6 Super Bowls. I mean, I don't know, do you explain, is there any other player you can look at and say we can go off this case study? I mean, no, it's just different. So I think us as players, we really don't care if people want to cheer for him. We don't care about that at all. We got one focus, and that's to win football games.
It's crazy to think that we are already talking about Week 4 when you haven't even played Week 1. How hard is it as a veteran on the team, as a leader, to make sure that everybody's head is focused on Miami and not looking ahead?
Honestly, nobody here has mentioned Week 4. Okay. I think that's for you guys. The media, I'm sure will build that up starting Week 1. But I think for us, we were 7-9 last year, so we don't look past anybody. We're trying to get back in contention and be a good football team. So the next team on the schedule is really going to be our focus, and we've done that so far in the preseason. I've been impressed with the way guys have studied the rosters. Going into games, we got 90 guys on the roster, now 80, and guys know who we're playing against. They're locked in. So I think right now, I think we've shown the maturity and the focus that we're going to need throughout the season.
Devin, did you think at all about retiring this offseason? And if so, what was it that made you decide to come back?
No, I didn't this offseason. Right after the season, I knew I still wanted to play. It was, I had just signed the contract a year ago. So, I think me and my wife both knew that we definitely wanted to play 2 more years when we signed the contract. So it wasn't much thought. Obviously, getting older, it's always a question. But, I think this year was a little defined, and it probably had something to do with the season and everything. But we knew we wanted to come back this year and play.
All right. Anything else, guys? Devin has work to do.
No, I know. Yeah.
All right.
Let the man go.
I want to see him do great things on Sunday, or will we see him do great things on Sunday?
Yeah.
How are they going to treat this for only 3 preseason games?
Now, you guys know I do not have that answer.
Okay. All right. What about yesterday when Mac Jones ran the ball in? Did you hear him yell, "Hold my nuts"?
Did he run it in? We were doing like game situation. We were like meeting on the sideline on defense.
All right, you cannot verify that. You cannot confirm.
I cannot
Can't confirm the Reddit form.
Cannot confirm what was said in a Reddit forum. All right, Devin McCourty, great to talk to you.
All right, good talking to you guys, man.
We'll talk to you again next week. All right, there he is.